Add another minute.
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
He has time. He's got him. Side touch is there. Leaping grab. Touchdown. Touchdown.
Good morning, football people. I wasn't doing the good morning Vietnam thing. I was like, it's only Wednesday.
Good morning.
Good morning. Hey, guys, we will have rules, I tell you. We will have rules. Did you see the new NFL rules last night?
Yeah, but, I mean, I'm not impressed with them.
I mean, I don't think either is one's going to have a possibility of making the game maybe better. The other one I thought was interesting. One of the new NFL rules this year is that if you're a team in the playoffs and you have a coach that is in the hunt for a head coaching job, so like your OC, DC, whatever, now during the playoff period, they can interview them still like they've always been able to, but now they have a time limit, the 3-hour time limit to interview a head coaching candidate if their team is still in the playoffs. I'm just wondering how that rule, did some coach get into a 10-hour, we lost Ken for a minute. Good morning, Matt. Did some coach?
He looked just like he was frozen.
No. Good morning, Yoli.
Good morning, Yoli.
Did some coach who was looking for a head coaching gig? There he goes.
Internet's messing up.
Bro, he was froze. He was just.
You're.
I'm sitting there trying to figure out: is the internet dead or is it just messing up?
Yeah, I got
Yoli, as you can tell, Ken's having issues this morning.
Ken's having issues.
Rob and I are fine. We got our coffee. My dogs are barking to go outside, which will get to go outside at the end of the hour, in their new patio. And when dogs went out to the patio yesterday, they ran outside because remember it used to be grass and dirt. They ran outside and they're like, wait a minute. They're all confused, like, what the heck's going on here? And then they had to investigate. It was kind of funny. But anyways, back to the rule. I wonder if, like when Dable got interviewed, they were in the playoffs, right? So he get into a 5-hour interview, and that's why they lost their playoff game. Are they attributing some negative coaching decisions to being in a very long interview, so they were overtired and didn't properly plan? I mean, we do. Hey, coffee. We look at Rob and I. We can survive without our coffee. It's just a question of whether people around us can survive if we don't have our coffee.
I'm not very good without my coffee.
I was going to say I'll survive either way, but
will you? Are you sure about that? Rob and I are that generation. We can reach out and touch people.
Yeah.
Oh, so am I. My old man was a police sniper and taught me everything.
I didn't say we had to go do it. We know people. Jesus, hit with the program, Ken.
I got cousins too.
Cousins. Anywho, so that was the one rule change. Yes, Yoli's like, I need my coffee or people will die. Look at Yoli, the real name of coffee is not coffee. You know this, right? Do you know what the real name of coffee is, Yoli? I'll wait for Yoli to respond before I give the answer. If she knows it, we're just going to go off the chain. The coffee is not its real name. She's pondering. What the heck is he talking about? But so that's rule change one while Yoli responds there. I'm sure it'll come up there in a minute. Rule change one, you can't interview a guy for more than 3 hours. Okay, I guess that, oh, no, she said, what's the name? Yoli, it's called anti-murdery juice. It's so that I don't murder people. So it's anti-murdery juice. That's what we call coffee. My good coffee story. My first weekend of command with my second unit I took command of. I walk in the building 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, "There's coffee up." No, sir. There's no coffee yet. Okay. And they had coffee up by about 7:30. Why it took them 2.5 hours to make coffee, I don't know. Anywho, I was the most irritable commander they'd ever seen on the face of the planet. There were extra jobs come flying out, new edicts coming out of my office left and right. So the next morning, I can't come in at 5 o'clock in the morning. Guess what was done? Yeah, they had coffee ready and everything went smooth. They learned real quick if the commander doesn't have coffee, it's going to be a rough day for the soldiers. So, and my first sergeant too, actually, he was like another coffee guy. He had to have his coffee. You can ask Rob Haspel. When we were in Iraq, we had a coffee pot that literally ran 24 hours a day.
Oh, yeah, bro. I don't understand how it couldn't.
Hey, John.
Especially if you're at war, bro. You got to be on your toes, man. You got to be, alert.
Yeah.
There he is. What's up, Joe?
Hey, toast. We don't do toast. We don't do toast, Dorn. Hey, good morning, JB. But yeah, we had a coffee pot that ran 24 hours a day. It was a Mr. Coffee, and that pot did not die.
I like bagels, John.
You would think running a coffee pot 24 hours a day would go kaput. It lasted the entire tour in Iraq.
Oh, no shot.
Pretty impressive. Yeah. So, anyways, John's right. So let's get back to football, because the first football news was the rule for you can only talk to a coach for.
Yeah, that's probably just because they like to bring them, get the hookers, taking the dinner, whatever it is, they're supposed to get more. So now they limit it 3 hours. You better talk shop, get it out of the way, and be done with it.
Those are there you go. Yeah, that's right, JB. But those are mostly Zoom calls and that. Those are video conferences. A lot of those interviews when they're still in the playoffs. The guy just does it from his house as he's preparing. Hey, you mean the Boosta? I have some of that yellow can stuff somewhere around this house, Yoli. I remember my wife's Puerto Rican. I know about the Puerto Rican coffee. But go ahead and send it. Yeah, we'll drink it. JB. Oh, wait, JB, he ain't done.
Bulls go Lions.
Yeah, I know what's coming next. The oil company. The FTP will be coming next. So soccer, no rules of soccer. However, the for soccer,
we got
well, no, this is what's interesting. This is one of those interesting differences between American sports and everyone else. So, the professional leagues have basically wrapped up their seasons, right? Champions League championship game is like in a week and a half. But their free agency period, if you will, the transfer window is about to open. So remember, in soccer, like international soccer, they don't trade players. So it's not like Borussia Dortmund says, trades Ken and Rob to Bayern Munich for future draft picks and stuff like that, right? They sell their players. So they would sell Rob to Bayern for a transfer fee. And then you get free agency sign, of course. John Dorn was it? I like Inter Miami Dorn.
Slave trading in soccer. Oh my Lanta.
That's pretty much what, in a way, yeah.
That's what it is, bro.
I was gonna say you can see why
they trade them, but they don't trade them. Here's the other quirk to it, though.
They just sell you off.
So here's the other quirk, though, to it. It's not just that, like, I could sell you Ken, right, from my team to your team. Ken and you would have to agree on a new contract, right? So you and Ken agree to a contract. I'm going to make 10 million pounds or $10 million or 10 million euro or $10 million a year. And he agrees to that contract. So then you go to me and say, hey, Ken and I have agreed to a contract. How much is it going to cost you to sell me his right so he can sign that contract and play for me? Now, if Ken's on my team and I'm just not using him, like let's say he's my 53rd guy on my roster, like for football talk, right? You know what I do then? Hey, I'll loan you him. So I'll send him to you to play for you on loan. subject to my recall whenever we want to bring them back to our team. They loan players. And that happens in MLS. MLS has players on loan to Europe, and there are European players in MLS who are on loan to MLS teams. So that'd be like you saying,
how do you have any loyalty to a team, bro? You're just going to hand me off to this guy for a couple weeks and then take me back?
If you put that in NFL terms, you could be like, you could have been the Cowboys last year, and you could have gone to, let's say, Arizona and say, hey, we'll loan you Trey Lance.
I see what you said. So when it gets playoff time, you can trade Dak out for someone else. So you can guarantee a big treat.
Well, you can only do that during the transfer windows, though. Only during transfer. But yeah, they loan players and then free agency. And here's a weird thing, though. Like with the way we do free agency, look at like JJ right now, right? He can only negotiate. He can only negotiate with the Vikings on a long-term deal. If this were soccer, he could negotiate with anybody right now. Yeah, and then say, hey, let's say he would get Houston to give him $40 million a year, and then he'd go back. They'd go back to Minnesota, and Minnesota would work out with Houston a transfer fee. It's weird the way it works, but that started. I mean, look,
it makes me not want to watch soccer even more now.
You need an extra reason, Rob.
That just gives me another reason. Man.
But you got to remember, Rob, though, they don't have a draft system like we do,
or loyalty. Apparently,
well, no, they get loyalty to teams, but they don't have a draft system like we do.
That's crazy, bro.
But yeah, it's basically when you get big name players who want to move from their team, like we get in American football, basketball, baseball. Their free agency period's different. It's like it's the transfer window, and teams sell the rights to players. Like when Lewandowski left Bayern, everyone knew he just wanted out. He wasn't going to re-sign. So it's usually what happens like in their contract year. So like this being JJ, he's in his transfer window. He'd be looking for another team if he didn't feel he was going to re-sign with the Vikings. So basically, it lets him kind of sign with the new team a year early, but then the team that's losing you is at least recouping financially for you. So in our football case, like JJ right now being a contract year could go talk to other teams, get a contract, and then that other team, if they could agree to a contract with JJ, would then have to pay the Minnesota Vikings a fee, a transfer fee, for him to come to them this year versus after this year. So they can't just do it in the middle of their contract. It's usually the last year of the contract. Or like, those situations where, I demand to be traded situations that players get. During that time period, they could do it too. But remember, they don't have a draft system like we do. They have what they do over there is they don't do high school, college sports like we do. They have academies where these kids go to school and then play at sport every day. They train in that sport 6-7 days a week and go to school through the organization. They still have to meet the educational standards. But we kind of see that here with IMG in Florida, right? You guys heard of IMG Academy? It's a sports academy in Florida, and these are all athletes, and basically they train every day of the week, and they still get their high school education, but it's they go there for, like, if you're a track athlete and you go there, you do track all year at IMG.
It's specialized for sports. I get it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's
specialized for sports. I like that, because then you can focus. Because it's unfair when you high school sports where you can't play multiple sports or do things because they want you to. And if you want to focus on one sport, you got to.
And the coaching is not the best because they don't necessarily, like for football here, they don't coach. You should know it all already. You're a freshman. Like, dude, not everyone has access to great, middle school football or Pop Warner, or the kid doesn't even know they want to play until their freshman year, and then they don't teach them anything, and they're like, "What the hell?" For track, Mike, Devin's gonna probably get offers at some point. Dude, he had no coaching. His form.
Here in Texas, football.
It's in Texas.
His form isn't good, but he's got D1 times already as a sophomore. If he gets actual coaching and mentoring on his form and stuff, he'll have high D1 time. So, but here coaching in high school sports in my area, at least, there's not a big emphasis on coaching. But even when I played soccer in high school, there was no coaching in terms of like, skills, learning the game better. It was like, well, you're expected to know it already. You're in high school. It's
I
kind
mean,
of
I'll
weird.
say that. I mean, me growing up, I helped coach soccer, but there wasn't really any good soccer coaches out there or any of that stuff,
Yeah.
It all came on people volunteering. So, if you had a good father out there that knew what he was doing, you probably had a good team going.
Yeah, for rec soccer is like that. And because when I coached rec soccer, I coached the young kids, so I was teaching them skills and drilling them and stuff. And club soccer, if you're paying to be in a traveling club, they get good coaches that will teach kids. But in high school, the coaches here don't really coach as much. The soccer coaches do. Football coaches don't. Track coaches have too many damn kids, too many damn events. They do have some specialized coaches which do like the shot put, discus that they work, but with the running, there's too many damn running events for them to be working on form and blocks, and so they don't get the individualized coaching. Football here, they barely get any coaching, but they treat themselves like some of these high school coaches. You think they're NFL coaches, man. Like they got a kid who plays for my son's high school as a freshman. He's like, "Oh, I got D1 offers." The kid was like 6'3". He's tall, right? Decent speed, but he can't catch. He can't catch a freaking. They threw the ball to him 25 times last year. He caught it twice. But they start this kid because he's got D1 offers because of his height. As a freshman, like, dude, as a freshman, I'm sorry, any offer you have as a freshman, odds are by the time you're a junior or senior, it's gone, right? And you've got different offers. This kid can't play, but he's getting offers because he's a receiver who's tall as a freshman. So Devin's like, forget this. He can't play because he's a better receiver, but they won't play him because, well, you're too short, so we won't let you play. We're afraid you'll get hurt if you get tackled. He's looking at his coach like, you're fucking stupid. I'm done. I'm just going to go do track full time. That's what he's doing. All right, other rule change. There is another rule change we have to talk about. So John Dorn can't complain that we're talking about high school sports, soccer, and coffee, or toast, which JB kind of turned him into. Let the comment war begin. The other rule change is they're going to start using laser technology for first down.
This one I'm interested in because with all these Amazon Web System chips in these balls that we're tracking speed and all this, why are we not tracking first downs?
We have been for a while. That's what the blue line and the yellow line on the TV screen is, bro. That's the. I know it's the unofficial, but they're tracking it. I mean, they're digitally tracking it.
I think
that's just a superimposed graphic versus them actually.
But that's how I guarantee you that's how it gets its info. It's probably lasered out on the field and sent up to the TV.
I knew Dorn would hate it. Dorn says it's just another tool to throw games, but. Look at that's laser. Look at when they place the ball first down, they laser the ball, right? And then 10 yards away, the laser's right there at specifically exactly 10 yards away. So they're going to know down to the millimeter whether it's a first down or not. I mean, there's no more eyeballing it, guessing. The spot's still going to matter. Don't get me wrong. But the chain gang, dude,
basically, what they're saying is they want us to trust when we can't see the ball under the pile that it's getting the first down. That's what they're saying, bro. Because right now, if you can't visually see it, it don't count.
Well, it's not just that, but he's like, JB hits it. It's more accurate because here's the thing. The things that will still be human error, ball placement by the referee, what you just talked about, Rob. But here's the problem. The chain gain runs out there. You're telling me when they're running out, from the sideline that the official chain is on to where the ball is placed, if it's on the far side, dude, they're running basically across the whole field. You're telling me that guy, neither of them have drifted left or right, even a millimeter?
Yeah, but no, what they do is when they get out there, they look to the sideline to line back up with the spot that they just ran from. That's how they do it.
Yeah, but it's still going to always be off a little bit.
Because the official mark is on the sideline. That's where the official mark is.
But it's still going to be off a little bit. So this is going to be more accurate.
Yeah, I get it, bro. But from what you're saying, it's going to be off. It hasn't affected us in 100 fucking years, and it ain't going to fucking affect us now. Well, I think that's just because when they're on the dog pile or they're trying to cross over the goal line, they want to know if the guy breaks the plane or not. Sometimes you can't see that.
Mm-hmm. But I think it has affected us, though. Like Remember Gene Steratore in the fucking index card? I know it's affected me.
Yeah. Okay,
It's cost me more than one game. I'll just say that.
Poor Joe.
Bro,
Bro, some of that shit is just look, man. I get it, bro. They want to get it accurate. Okay, I'm all about being accurate, but let's make sure we're accurate. Then you're gonna do this, then let's fucking do it across the board for everything.
Yeah, I'm not even saying that I'm like fully on board with it, because I think it's just another opportunity. Like, that I prefer the human error, because if it's honest human error,
that's right, bro.
Because machines can be manipulated, and that's,
well, now they're gonna just try this during the preseason games, and if it works well in the preseason game, they're gonna take it into the regular season. I mean, I think that it's more accuracy on the measurement. Okay, I'm okay with that. I like Joe. I like the human element. I like the human element, like Joe does, though too.
I do too.
I actually don't mind taking some of the human element out of it, because we've all seen games come down to judgment calls. And some of these judgment calls, you're wondering, how in the hell did this guy make that call when he's got two working eyes?
I got it, bro.
Yeah, but that's why I
say, man, if you're gonna go with the computer, you're gonna go with this the tech, then you got to do it all. If there's a call that's questionable and it's a judgment thing, then we got to go look at the tape. You know what I'm saying?
Remember that time that I think it was the Browns and the Redskins when they said that the Browns fumbled, but the Browns running back still had the ball, and he was like showing the Reds the ball, and they still gave the ball to the Redskins.
Yes.
Like, oh, dude.
Well, that's like last year. Brisker, his helmet broke, right? The face mask broke, so he pulled the helmet off, and they gave him a 15-yard penalty for whatever that penalty is for taking the helmet off the field. He's showing the umpire, the refs, like, look. And then they had on the jumbo. He's like pointing the guy, look at the jumbo. You can see him right there. My helmet broke. And they still gave the 15-yard penalty. And he's like, my helmet broke, so by rule, I'm allowed to remove it because my helmet's freaking broken.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it might be that they want you to wait until the fucking side, until you get to the side.
No, not by rule. Not by rule. Not by rule, because they were even saying on the broadcast, by rule, he could take his helmet off right then and there because it's broken. And he's showing the official, look, my helmet's broken. Because that also creates an equipment timeout.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And they thought, he was just celebrating. Like, no, my helmet's legit broken. In fact, it was a division game. It was either the Packers or the Lions that happened against, I think, if I remember correctly. But I mean, look, it's gotten, like JB says, it's gotten better over the years. The way, and like some of the judgment calls, Rob, we can look at now, not all of them, I grant, and there's a problem there. I know we can't chip the ball. Remember when they chipped the hockey pucks in hockey, so we could follow the puck on TV, and it was this purple streak. And I think that lasted all of like 3 weeks or so, maybe one season. And then NHL stopped doing it because you just saw this weird purple streak. I think if they try to chip the football, I think they would just throw the football off, because where would you chip it?
Yeah. Like,
where would you chip it? You'd have to, the only place you could probably chip it would be in the laces.
That's what I was thinking.
I mean, bro, they got microchips, bro. They honestly, bro, they can do this. They can do this. I'm sure the jerseys are chipped. Something's chipped.
They are.
The NFL logo is on there. Is probably got a chip in the fucking logo, man.
Look at football players like Ray John Dorn. I'm gonna say something you're gonna love. Football players like soccer players wear sports bras now. Have you ever seen them?
Probably.
You'll see it on the soccer players more. No, seriously, Ken, you're laughing, but seriously, you'll see it on the soccer players when they're in training. It looks like a bra. It looks like a bra, but what it is, it's a tracking vest.
It's a bro.
Yeah, but it looks like a sports. But it looks like a sports bra.
We don't wear bras. Right? We wear bros.
Yeah, whatever. But they wear these things. They're like, it's like this vest, and it's chipped. It gives all kinds of data. It gives medical data, movement data. That's these players are chipped, like wearing these things because it shows movement on the field. It shows heart rate. They get their heart rates off it. They can get all kinds of crazy stuff off it. And for all these analytics, but they track all kinds of crazy stuff on these players. They chip their shoes. They chip everything these days, right? getting a chip in the ball. I mean, look, if they chip the ball, you wouldn't even have to worry about ball placement, right? They can just go to the all right, where the ball, how far the ball go by chip, and they could place it that way with ready for this one with the laser and the chip, huh?
As soon as the guy grabs the ball, it'll be moving around. They'll be like, hey. You give me all kinds of false starts. Watch.
They can
go to the chip. Let's go to the chip and see if he moved the ball.
JB, I think you're right. He may have a couple of those in his closet.
I do, man. I patent the idea, bro. That's why I'm telling you it's the bro.
But I mean, if they chip the ball, and they use the lasers to identify the distance for first downs, or even the goal line, if they laser the goal line, right? Or chip the ball, I guess would solve that. I mean, think about it. You'd always know if the ball crossed the plane. There would be no question. Well, we couldn't see in the pile. Well, it doesn't matter. You can see where the chip was on the computer. Mm-hmm. And New York could call down and say it's a touchdown.
That's what I mean, bro. This is going to be.
It's going to be more accurate, but I think it's going to be less exciting.
Yes, 100%.
Like that's the thing.
I agree.
Like, you're taking away that the play where it's like 4th and 1, and they got to line up and stop them, and it's like it's a judgment call. And did he get there? Did he not? Like you're going to take away those moments, dude.
Well, I mean, look at the fan on TV. I think we'd know instantaneously, right? But to the fan in the stands, there would still be that wait while they wait. We gotta go look at the.
Let me throw another monkey wrench in this whole conversation. What happens if you hit the chip in the ball, like it gets kicked or it bounces and it fucking malfunctions in the middle of fucking play? I mean, then
you just take that ball out and use one of the 5 other ones you got.
Yeah, yeah, but if they're tracking that ball, you know what I'm saying? What if it fucks up in the middle?
So I know that
I think you revert back to the eyes.
But I mean, I know they've used tracking.
So why are we fucking with the chip then?
Well, no, I know they've done chips in basketball with basketballs, soccer balls, and some other balls, other sports, and they haven't had that issue. I mean, I get it. You're saying with the football, it's going to get kicked, it's going to get hit the ground.
I mean, a lot of
but dude, soccer balls get kicked with. Soccer balls are getting kicked with a lot more force.
I mean,
than a football that's getting thrown.
Hockey pucks are solid, bro. How the fuck can they track those? I don't know.
I mean, I think, they could probably do it, But I mean, I think they're trying to go all technological. You're going to get to a point where the refs are going to be useless. Like at the point, you're going to get to a point where you can take all the refs off the field, leave the main ref there because he's just going to be the mouthpiece for New York. Yep. And the refereeing will all happen from a box, right?
With how bad some of these calls have been recently, it's not like they're doing anything to secure their job future.
Yeah, you know what they should do? They should put a chip in Max Crosby's jersey that tells if it's been tugged or not, so that like they can catch Kansas City holding every play.
I was going to say they will, but it's going to be turned off for Kansas City.
But Ken, to your point,
where they're trying to go. That's basically what this is.
But Ken, to your point, though, I think the reason why we're so hip to missed calls is because now we have 8,000 camera angles and slow-mo that we all watch on TV the second a play's ended. And then oh my God, he misses such an egregious call. Well, okay, was it egregious miss because from 40 yards away in real time, from the angle from where the ref was standing, could he actually see him tugging Max Crosby's jersey? No, he couldn't. His view was blocked by another player or something. So that's the other thing. That's the thing. Those fans, we look at it. Oh my God, what an egregious miss! But you know what they should really do with those missed calls? Show us the camera angle from where the ref was standing at field level.
Put cameras on the ref. Body cams on the ref, bro.
Yeah, break out the fucking hat. Go,
and dude, on the hat, bro. 4K and better TVs, man. We can see so many little intricacies that sometimes these guys, we're seeing it like up, like look at.
We got pylon.
I do this. I do this to you. You can watch it in 4K high def and zoom in and see me giving you the bird. But the referee who's standing right over there, 20 feet away, doesn't see me doing that. You know what I mean?
Awesome, bro. Because then you could totally look at the ref's point of view. You could see that from their angle, and they know if they actually even looked at it and saw the play. You know,
I mean, but that's the other thing, though, too, right? Like, look at if you're some of these officials have
make it better.
That's the other thing too, though. Like, let's say you have the official that's looking down the line. Okay, so that official is responsible for basically the 10 players on the line. Dude, he's gonna miss something. You only have 2 eyeballs. You don't have 10, right?
Yeah, and but I think it should be a new rule that as soon as the playoffs start, like they should automatically put a specific camera on Kansas City's offensive line.
That's one of the.
It's like the dedicated. They could call it the Kansas City cam, because nobody in the NFL holds like Kansas City holds, dude. Nobody.
They will, but the camera's going to mysteriously malfunction.
Exactly.
No, you know what's going to happen? Bill Belichick will have mysteriously hacked into the system.
I don't know, man. Dude. But that's a solution to some of the problems. If you get better camera angles, I'm surprised we haven't come up with this sooner. Putting GoPros on the refs' hats.
So I mean, I know
wherever they look, that's where they see. You know what I mean?
Well, the other problem with the instant replay, well, not for them, but for us as fans. So we don't get to see every angle. Like when they look at a replay challenge, New York has angles that we don't see even on the television broadcast. So they got even more angles. So the NFL has angles, actually. The fans, we don't see all the angles.
I just want to confirm the refs are blind. That way I know what they're looking at. And I can see the foul in there from their camera. I can say, see, that fucker's blind. He didn't call it.
Dude, I'm sure the NFL does that already. I'm sure they do that as part of their – I am sure that they have a camera or some kind of system that tracks these officials, where they are in the field, what their line of sight is on the field. And they do, Dorn. They don't get fined, but they get graded after every game. So like this camera stuff we're talking to, I am sure the NFL has some of that because that's the way. That's the way that they grade the officials to let them move on to go into the playoffs and eventually the Super Bowl. After every game, they're graded for good calls, missed calls, bad calls, and there's a score sheet for these refs. And that's how some of these refs are refereeing in the NFL.
With a bad call in every Super Bowl,
that's still the human factor. But I mean, there are officials. But this is how they remove officials.
You remember a couple years ago when they had the rule for 1 year where you could challenge pass interference calls. Mm-hmm. Do you know why they took that rule away? Because it wasn't because it wasn't a good idea. They took it away because there were so few. So there were so many challenges on pass interference calls, and so few of them got overturned.
Right.
Like the coach would challenge, like, "Hey, that was pass interference," and then they'd be like, "No, it's not," but it's clearly pass interference. Like because refs don't like to be overturned in their rulings, dude. Like that was
the other thing though, like if you ever notice, like let's say we're an officiating crew, and all of a sudden, and Dom's on the crew, and then you get we see our crew week 1. Right, fans see, they put our names on the screen. Here's the officiating crew, and all of a sudden, week 7, Dom's name is no longer there. Well, why is he no longer on that officiating crew? Because of those score sheets. So the NFL does do that, and they remove referees, officials all the time, and they add new ones in it because they do that at the NCAA level. They do it at other levels, and that's how they promote officials to the NFL. So they kind of do that. We just don't see it.
Yeah, but Ken. I have an argument for that right now. Like Jerome Boger was still reffing playoff games like until he retired. And that dude was one of the worst referees I've ever seen in my life.
100% agree with that.
So
Jerome Boger was terrible.
I don't know what JB is sitting at the computer right now. He might be able to I don't know. I know they grade. We know they grade because we've heard him talk about the grading system and how they use the grading system to judge who gets playoff games and who gets the Super Bowl and so on. But I'm wondering if there's an accuracy cut. Like you have to have a minimum accuracy because what you're talking about, Joe, it could be like, dude, you may have gotten stuck with him because out of the, let's say there were eight crews selected for the playoffs, and you got crew number 8 because they just happened to be the next highest score, and the crews below them weren't as good, and so you got stuck with this guy. I mean, that could be part of it, but I mean, is it 70%? So they have to have a 70% accuracy rate, Joe. So that guy was actually right 70% of the time.
What? So a third of the time you could be wrong? Mm-hmm. What the fuck? Mm-hmm. 1 out of 3 you could be wrong?
Well, I mean, but once again, though, we're looking, but when we're looking at certain plays and saying, oh my God, that's clear and obvious, we're looking at probably from a different angle in high res with a close up, and the official's 40 yards away. Or how about
perfect example? So Jerome Boger was the referee when the Raiders played the Bengals in the playoffs a couple years ago, and they blew the whistle dead on that touchdown play and gave Cincinnati a touchdown. And then the NFL knew that they screwed up so bad that when they went back and they showed the replay, they actually doctored the audio to make the whistle come later than it actually did.
Well, look, I mean, Joe.
No, and that's a proven fact. Proven fact.
Joe,
like, Joe,
that's fine. I mean, that's great, Joe. But I mean, no, because for the sake of this argument, yeah, that's great. I mean, because look, we can pick little, these single moments in time where there was something egregious. But when we look at the overall body of work, every single game, every year, to include every single playoff game, every single tick of the clock, you're talking about one play out of thousands.
But that wasn't the only play, man. Like that was the only.
Well, then what do you want to do, Rob? Just get rid of the referees? You just want to
I was going to say baseball and football are massively different, though.
Yeah,
but I mean, are we? There's a lot of guesswork involved with the bat.
I mean, Rob, what are your other options? I mean, look at let's say, look at you like JB said, you have to have a minimum 70% accuracy rate to be considered for the playoffs. They picked the highest rated reffing crews for the playoffs. So if you've got, how many games are there in the first round of the playoffs? That's 8 games that weekend, right?
6 games.
Games? 6 games. So the 6 highest rated crews in the NFL are blowing whistles that weekend. Okay? 6 out of the top 6, because there are 16 teams probably at least, right? 16 or 17 officiating crews. So out of the 16 officiating crews you have, let's say, or 20, let's say you have 20 officiating crews. The top 6 with an accuracy rate of a minimum 70% are calling the games. Okay, Rob. So, Joe. Okay, great. So now what do you want to do? That guy's going to call the game. If he gets it, what do you want to do? You can't. I mean, what are you going to replace him with? There's no solution to your dilemma.
The fact that they give you fucking challenges is the NFL's way of admitting that they are not perfect and they're not going to get these fucking calls right. So they're giving you the opportunity. So in that spirit of all that, every team gets 3 challenges. Or you get 2, and then if you get 1 right, you get a third.
Now you get the third.
Okay, so let's just assume everybody gets 2. You should be able to use those 2 challenges on any call, whether it's a judgment call or not. Then it will make it fair, because that one play that Joe's talking about, if they got a challenge, they will be able to overturn that call because it's so egregious.
Right. I'm with you.
Well, we blew the whistle. You made a mistake, bro, because you didn't see it. Okay, so let's fix it. If we're gonna admit we make mistakes and give everybody a challenge, then let's be able to challenge any call at any time as long as you have your 2 to use.
So you know that's what I'm saying. To JB's point here, every single official is rated, so crews get broken up actually come playoff time. So we can break it down even further. If let's say there's 100 officials between side judges, back judges, like they take so for the playoffs, you get the 6 best back judges, the 6 best line judges, side judges, referees. They don't take the whole crew. They break it down by position. The best at each position is graded and taken. I mean, look, I get what you guys are saying, but like, there's good, and some of the stuff, The judgment calls are where it gets harder, right? Because what the hip hop tackle is going to be like that. There are going to be judgment calls. Some of the calls I think that they have done a good job with, as far as letting us do replay, are some of the more technical calls, right? Like, did he have 2 feet in bounds? Like, that's a good one to do replay on, right? Did the ball cross the plane, which they do automatically now? And remember, they've gotten to the point now where now every scoring, remember, on a scoring play or a turnover, you used to have to throw the flag if you thought it was wrong. Now it's automatically done. So the NFL has actually given coaches a ton more challenges doing that, right?
As they should. They want to get it right. Let's do it. I mean, we're chipping the line. We're chipping the fucking. There's a pylon cam, so we can get it accurate. Let's fucking do it right then. Okay, that's what I'm saying. I'm all for whatever makes it more fair and makes the judgment, or makes these judgment calls more like on what they should be, instead of what maybe they judge wrong.
But the key word there, though, you say, Rob, even is judgment.
Yeah, I get it.
Take out as much judgment as possible.
Can you put Luca's last comment back up? Because I completely disagree with that. Like, I mean, I don't disagree that losing teams probably do complain, but are we really going to sit here and act like the NFL doesn't have its favorites? Like, have you really never watched a Kansas City playoff game? Like, come on, bro. Have you never watched the Patriots in their 17 fucking Super Bowl seasons? Like, there are certain teams that get gifted calls, man. Like, that's just a fact of life. Like, you know.
And Luca's got the number. There are 17 full crews.
As long as
the NFL doesn't make them full, and the NFL does not make them full-time employees, because look, they jettison and bring on new ones throughout the year if they don't grade well. The New Orleans getting jobs with that no call against the Rams. That's the problem too. You get, I think that's the other problem with replay. So 2 other issues with replay sometimes. One, they blow the whistle. Well, when they blow the whistle, players stop. The play's dead. And I know we've all hated that because sometimes they blow the whistle too early, right?
Yep.
I agree with that. That's once again though, it's human error. You can't reverse it from the whistle on. And then the other piece is, sometimes when they don't blow the whistle and it goes on, and you know, it's kind of hard on the no call, because they have to judge a couple things, right? Did the no call affect the play? Did the you know, was the receiver on the left side of the field being held by the cornerback when the play went to the right side of the field and there was an interception? So there's a lot of other little intricacies that go into it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know the play specifically that you're talking about there. I'm just talking in general.
I'll tell you the best play. Ever want to go look?
He's talking about
Hail Mary pass to Russell Wilson threw against the Packers. You got 2 refs in the same end zone looking at the play. One throws his hands up, touchdown. The other one doing this at the exact same fucking time.
See, but that's the thing, and we see that a lot, though, right? Because look at from where the one guy is standing. Everything was meant for the catch. He sees maybe the ball, you know, positive control of the ball and whatever else he's supposed to see. The other guy doesn't see that at all, right? So we see that all the time.
He sees Golden Tate pushing the guy out of the way to clear out.
But more times than not, though, with that, Rob, what happens? Right, the referees get together, they discuss, and more times than not.
Remember, that was during the refs were out.
Replacement refs.
Replacement refs, bro. That was replacement ref football. That was horrible call. Horrible.
But with the regular refs, more times than not, those officials get together and they end up with the correct call, even by tape. Because even when you go back and look at the tape, we'll see that. I mean, we see it at least once a game, almost, it seems, right? Where there's something where 2 officials are making contradictory calls. They get together, they discuss. And I would say 9 times out of 10, they end up with the correct call at the end of it. At least, you know, I mean, but there's human element to it. I mean, so, you know, do you really get rid of, look at every sport has it. Sorry, John, I'm going to talk soccer for a minute, but look at the last Bayern Munich game in the Champions League. The referee, and this kind of like the whistle deal in the NFL, threw the flag up on the equalizing goal as saying that the guy was offsides. And they ended up disallowing the game-tying goal, which changed, obviously, the outcome of the game. When they looked at the tape, the guy was not offsides at all. It would have been a good goal. But because he threw the flag up, there was nothing they could do, even with VAR. That's what they call instant replay. With VAR, so in the NFL, it's the same thing. They blow the whistle. At some point, once the whistle's blown, the play's dead. So, you're never going to get rid of that problem. You can't. How do you reverse that? You can't.
All right, well, here, I'm going to say this. Why don't the NFL be smart? If they see the refs have to get together to figure out what happened, then that right there should say, all right, let's look at the replay.
Because they already are. New York already is, and they're already talking.
Right. Let's get it right is what I
as long as they're doing
that, I'm good for it.
But that's that's because usually what happens with that call, though, if you think about it, Rob, really think about that for a minute, right? When you see that, that's usually a situation where there's a referee on the right side and a referee on the left side that plays in the middle, and their POV is completely different from each other.
Right.
And then they'll talk, and he'll say, well, from my aspect, I just saw this, and I saw the ball eventually hit the turf. And the other referee says, okay, from my position, I saw him catch the ball, hug it, take 2 steps, and then someone punched the ball out in the end zone. It's like, okay, so it's a good catch. Yes, it's a good catch. And then they both come up and go touchdown, right? That's usually where that happens is where they're, the back of the players to one ref, and he's got that point of view, and the other ref is looking straight on. He's got that point of view. And sometimes you got a third ref who's watching it from that center view who has also seen something different. So they all get together. Now you've got information from all 3 of them, and they can make a correct call.
See, I don't have a problem with the human element if it's honest human mistakes. That's part of the game, and I'm fine with that. But I have a problem with corruption. And the thing is like, if we're going to sit here and pretend like corruption doesn't exist in the NFL, then we're fools. Like,
well, look what happened in the NBA.
You see examples all the time, dude. Like, there'll be 2 teams playing, and one team will have 12 penalties for 125 yards, and the other team will have 1 penalty for 5 yards. You're telling me that team only committed 1 penalty in that whole game? Like, that's bull,
Well, look, here's an even better example. Last year, Bears fans were livid, up in arms, because Justin Fields could not for the life of him get a roughing the passer call. Like, he'd slide. I remember the one game he slid, and they damn near tore his head off while he was in the slide, and they made it a no call. The dude got plastered, giving himself up in the slide. He should have been touched. No flag. They said, well, because the guy put himself in the air before Fields slid, therefore, but when you reverse it on the other side, how many times have we seen, well, you got to control your body in the air, and you should blah, 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 blah. Or look at like when they bring their body weight on the quarterback. There's certain quarterbacks, dude, you can smother to death, and they don't care. But if you do it to Mahomes or you do it to Kirk Cousins, there goes the flag. And then there was one game I remember watching last year, they called that, and then when you saw the replay, you saw that the sacker, that the guy who was making the sack, put his arms down to make sure his full body weight didn't land straight up, and they still flagged him, right? Because so I agree with that. There's that's a problem. There's some
call.
Some of these judgments, right? And but look, there's on some of these judgment calls though, there is favoritism. Like when it comes to Mahomes, like they will protect Mahomes more than they're going to protect, say, Gardner Minshew or Kyler Murray.
Yeah, it's just a fact, dude. Like there's too many bad, egregious calls that affect games for there not to be corruption. Like there's, I'm not saying that it's like rampant or that it's like, every crew, like, I don't know, because I don't have like tangible proof on that, but there's definitely corruption in the referees that affects the outcomes of games. And
that's why they had to put body cams on cops, bro. They need to put body cams on the refs.
I mean, look at the NBA. There's a documentary on Netflix.
How they mic up the players?
Hold on, Joe. There's a documentary on Netflix. They do some really good sports ones, and there's one about the referee corruption in the NBA. This guy would have never gotten caught if the mob didn't get caught doing something else. And that became a bleed off in the investigation. Like this guy was fixing games for the mob, right? The only reason anyone found out is the FBI, when they're investigating this mafia family, this connection, stumbled upon it as like an accident. They were investigating these guys for something completely different. And somehow this NBA ref all of a sudden got in the picture. That's the only reason the NBA ever found out that games were being fixed in the NBA, because there was an FBI investigation into some mafia guy, and by accident, they stumbled upon it. So, Joe, to go to your point, could there be guys in the NFL who are receiving payoffs to do certain things? You definitely can't rule it out, because I would say for sure it's much money is involved in betting in the NFL, with not just legally but illegally with bookies. Oh yeah, and now could you say on a higher level, is there maybe some league deference being paid to certain players, like guys who are the face of the league, like Mahomes and stuff like that, and Brady? I think it'd be fair to say that, yeah, the referees do protect those guys more because they are the face of the league. And I don't know that the NFL explicitly says, hey, Rob, make sure you guys protect Mahomes in the game this weekend. But, I mean, I'm sure that's out there, that there's something there to that, because if you're calling the game and you let Mahomes get hurt on something that you should have thrown a flag for a couple plays ago and you didn't, I'm sure there's some blowback on these officials.
That, and you also see a lot of these top quarterbacks during the pregame warm-ups sitting there all buddy joking with the refs, because if the guy likes you more, he's more likely to call something in your favor.
Hey, we got some breaking news here. We got some breaking news here from JB. He's saying that the NFL just announced Pittsburgh is hosting the draft in 2026. So they're going to Steel City.
Congrats to Pittsburgh.
Yep, I won't be going to Pittsburgh. Not driving up there. No. But I mean, look, there are officiating problems. I think though, when they do like stuff like now bringing in the laser, for first down to be more accurate, I think that helps erode some of the problems, because look, there's some times where it's like, you see the refs where they bring the chain game, they keep jostling the chain a certain way. All of a sudden, they went from where you thought, oh yeah, he was going to make it easily, and even announced, oh yeah, he's easily got it. How's he a half yard short after you do the chain? Yep. It eliminates that. So that part of that kind of maybe fixing and stuff like that, that's one of the easiest things to fix if you're on the take. Think about it.
Yeah, I mean, when I'm talking about corruption, I'm not talking about refs getting envelopes full of cash, dude, like from shady mafia guys. Like, I'm talking about corruption that's endemic, that's in the NFL, like shaving points on games because the Vegas spread said, like the majority of people bet this way, and Vegas needs to make money. Like, I think that's the real culprit.
So that's the same as the mafia guy in the NBA. That's the only reason.
Yeah, except that
for betting purposes.
Yeah,
I mean, but Joe, your argument is no different than the mafia thing.
It kind of is though, because it kind of is though. When you're talking about mafia, when you're talking about mafia guys handing them envelopes, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like at the NFL, like the highest levels of the NFL.
Well, someone's getting paid then. Someone's getting paid in order to do that then, so it'd be the same.
I'm sure, but I don't think it's the individual refs that are getting pockets full of cash after a game, is what I'm saying. I think that there's, like, at times it appears it's like if a certain team has been bet heavily, like all of a sudden that team loses that game by, or they don't cover the spread by 1 point, or, like there's certain times where it just seems that awfully fishy when you look at the Vegas odds.
Look, I think when we look at the rules, that some of the changes they've made, I think this first down one's a step in the right direction. I'll maybe get rid of certain parts of corruption. I think chipping the ball is something we're going to see probably in the next 5 to 10 years, which will then take away even more and give us even better accuracy on some of these judgment calls for ball placement. Did they break the plane? Did he get, where's the ball at in terms of, did they get the half inch they needed to get the first down, right? And those types of things, I think, will greatly improve. I think part of the reason why the NFL doesn't do the ball chipping, though, is because there's sometimes it's not just where the ball is, it's where the body is, right? Like, where did the knee touch? Where did the ankle touch? And sometimes we forget that. Like, sometimes, the ball crossed across what should be the first down, but the guy's knee was down a half yard back. Therefore, it doesn't matter, right? And we got to remember there's those intricacies to the rules, too, that sometimes we as fans go, but the ball, but his ankle was a half yard back down already. So who cares with the ball? And some of it's timing, right? And so we on the field, it's this. On replay, it's this.
They're just messing with football too much, bro. I mean, look, if it wasn't for TV, the game would be just reffed like normal. They would just watch the game and fucking you would just live with the calls, bro. And if we're gonna involve tech into it, we got to do it across the board. It's just not fair to do it. I understand they're trying to do that and they're getting there, but it's just, man, it is very frustrating. There are plays,
and this is where the TV age is affecting sports, right? Because we see the plays in slow-mo, high def from all these different angles, and angles that, especially above the field angles, we now see the game differently as fans, and we go, well, why aren't the refs calling that? Well, because they're field level, 30 yards away, they can't see that small tug of the jersey. So us, it's like, oh my God, it's plain, it's obvious, but to the referee on the field, they weren't seeing.
They don't have the overview. They don't have our view as we as fans are watching on TV. The camera above sees a lot. You know what I'm saying? But
when it comes to this stuff like the accuracy calls, like did the first down markers, I think the lasers in that is good on them. I wouldn't mind even seeing them chip the ball for like better ball placement. But you're always gonna have judgment calls in any sport, whether it be football, soccer, basketball, baseball, boxing, MMA, whatever it is. You can't you're never going to get the human element completely out of it. And I don't think, or should you? Like even baseball, they've got the strike zone thing, but look, the ump still calls a ball a strike that was clearly, when you look at the box on TV, not in the zone, right? I mean, they haven't taken the human element out of baseball as much as they've tried. You're never going to take the human element completely out. There's always going to be bad calls, but then there's some really phenomenal calls that sometimes these refs see stuff even the cameras don't catch because of where they're at in the field and where the play is. And so, I mean, there's a balance there, and I think the NFL is trying to find that balance. And taking the chain gain, running 30 yards across field, away to be a more accurate laser mark, I think is a good thing. When it comes to some of these other calls, we have to wait and see what they'll come up with.
Personally, I would like to see with these judgment calls like pass interference or roughing the passer, I would like to see them review it, and they should have like a conference with all the officials, and like it should be basically you have to have a majority of the officials agree that it's a penalty. Like, if you have 7 officials on the field, then 4 of them have to say it's a penalty for it to be a penalty.
Yeah, but the problem is, though, how many of those 7 officials are watching the quarterback?
No, but I'm saying you stop the game and you review it. All 7 officials get to look at the tape and they get to decide.
Yeah, we're gonna have it. These games are going to take 7 hours.
Nah.
Not necessarily. I mean, only on judgment calls like pass interference or roughing the passer. Like, realistically, how many times do you see that a game? Maybe once or twice. But these are huge calls. These are huge calls that keep drives alive, or
these are like
touchdowns.
Because they're spot fouls. Those are spot fouls, man. You're talking 50 yards.
I mean, look at the NFL already did that with the pass interference thing, and then they got rid of it because they said, look at most of them we're not getting overturned. I mean, I think they got to do better on pass interference and roughing the passer calls, or at least be more consistent. Like, if you're going to give that call to Mahomes, you give it to Fields, you give it to Williams, you give it to Love, you give it to all of them. You don't, I mean, when Fields basically got his head removed from his shoulders last year in a game, and there was no call, it was obvious, you got to be more consistent. I think that's where the problem is. And on that unfortunate bad take about a Bears fan crying about Justin Fields getting killed as a Bear last year, we got to say, hope everyone has a great day. We'll see you tonight at 8 p.m. Central on House Hall Report. Otherwise, we'll see you right back here tomorrow morning for Ken and Ken in the morning. Have a great day, everyone.
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
He has time. He's got left side. Dobbs is there. Leaping grab. Touchdown. Touchdown.